Okay. Okay, this presentation is called Hot Apps. These are apps that are some of the most convenient and most used apps. Although you may be using apps that you found that fit your own needs better than any of these. Most of these apps are already on your device or can be found on the Apple App Store. So on your iPhone and iPad, the Apple App Store icon looks like this. And on your computer, it's easy to access the App Store by just going to the little Apple icon in the top left corner of your screen and then clicking on App Store. It's also in your applications folder. If you want to find it that way, you just go to applications and it'll be at the top of your list. So here's what the App Store, one of the App Store screens look like when you open it on your computer, on your Mac. And you can see there's a lot of categories. You can find apps for business, medical apps, travel apps, music apps, finance apps, just about anything you could possibly imagine. There's also different categories. There's a category called Be Creative, or actually it's called Create. Here's a category called Discover. And in this category, you can find apps that are updated for Big Sur. And you can find essential Safari extensions if you're looking for something like an ad blocker. So when you go to the App Store, you can, if you find any app you want, you find information out about it by clicking right on the title. So I'm going to go through one here called the Oregon Trail. So we'll just click on that. And this one happens to have a little video for it. Most of them don't have a video, but, and then you scroll up and you can see screenshots. And on the right side of the screenshots, there's a little arrow here. If you click on that, you can see more screenshots and see if it's an app that looks like you can use it. Below that's a definition or description. And if you click on the little word more, you get the full description. When you scroll up more, you can see ratings and reviews. You can see this one's rated at 4 out of 5 stars, which is pretty good. Scroll up more and you get more information. To go back to the whole list of apps, you just click on the little arrow in the upper left there. And it takes you back. So here's a few music apps. Pandora and Spotify are probably the most popular music apps. And then you can find actual radio stations that you can listen to just about any radio station you can imagine. Pandora lets you listen to the radio and podcasts and create your own playlists. And Spotify is similar, and you can create radio stations based on artists, genres, or even by decade. And they both have good ratings. Sun Radio says it's a listener-supported radio station that plays the best music under the sun. And then there's Apple Music. Your iTunes on your Mac and the music app on your iPhone and iPad is free, but you can get Apple Music Premium for $9.99 a month or $99 a year, which is similar to Pandora and Spotify. Apple Music offers their own curated radio stations. They use their own DJs and all the genres and podcasts that you can imagine. They say that you can access over 75 million songs. And one account can be accessed on all your devices. And I believe that's the same with Pandora and Spotify. Starting this month, Apple says they're starting spatial audio via Dolby Atmos, as well as hi-fi lossless audio streaming. And that sounds pretty technical, so I looked that up. And it says Dolby Atmos is a surround sound technology developed by Dolby Laboratories. It expands on existing surround sound systems by allowing sounds to be interpreted as three-dimensional objects. Well, that doesn't really help to explain it too much, but suffice to say, it's an enhanced sound system and it's offered this month free. Well, it's a free service. It's just starting this month for Apple Music. Kanopy is a great app that you use with the local library system, and you can watch free videos. You can watch up to 15 videos a month for free. This is a screenshot using that app, using Kanopy, and it gives you descriptions of movies, and they have a huge selection, actually, usually not the Hollywood blockbusters, but still quite a good selection. They also have this button here that says My List, so you can add movies to your list, kind of like Netflix Queue. And I use this pretty frequently. It works well. Another app that is used with your library system is called Libby. And you can read books and magazines, and it works with your iPad and Kindle devices. You also have a choice of audiobooks. And one of the good things about using this app is that the text size can be changed along with other options such as background colors. Here's a screenshot of using that app. And you can click on a book and it gives you a description and lets you read a few pages. PSE is a good app to have that's free from Puget Sound Energy. With this app, you can report power outages and receive text messages when there is a power outage. Then it'll let you know of estimated repair times. You can also see outage maps, and logging in, you can access your account and of course, probably pay your account. Here's a couple password managers. Well, there's a lot of password managers you can access through Apple's App Store. These two are probably a couple of the more popular ones, PW Safe and Keeper Password Manager. PW Safe says it's $14.99 and it's rated at 4.6 out of 5 stars, so it's got a good rating. You can see screenshots and click to view them all to see if it's something that looks good for you. Scroll up for a description and ratings. Scroll up a little more. It tells you the size of the app, and it tells you that it will work on the computer that you're looking it up with. And a quick description of a lot of these password managers and why they're helpful is that they generate strong passwords for you. It stores the passwords in encrypted format for safety. It works in sync with your other devices, and you only have to remember one password to use it, but it will also work with your fingerprint ID. And these here, your Mac has a couple password managers on it already. These, I wouldn't call them hot apps, but this is just information to let you know what's already there. One is Keychain Access. This stores passwords and pretty much works in the background, so you'd really never have to access this application unless you were looking up a password that you had forgotten. But when you use the Mail app, every time you get mail, it automatically enters your mail password for you. Every time you open your Mac and it connects to a Wi-Fi network, it automatically enters your Wi-Fi password. So it's working in the background for you. The other app on your computer is, or password manager on your computer is in the Safari browser. When you log into a web page via your Safari browser, it asks you if you want to save the password. And if you're not sure, you can just click on Not Now, and then the next time you log in with that password, it'll ask you again. Or you can choose Never for this website if you don't want it to save any passwords. If you go to Safari Preferences and click on the Passwords tab here, it'll show you the websites that you've saved passwords for. It lists the websites on the left side there. And then it shows the username and then passwords on the right side. If you click on the dots under the password list, it will show you the password. If you have passwords with showing these yellow triangles here, that means there's a security issue. It's either you've either used this password before or it's a weak password. So those are just two apps that work with passwords that are already on your computer. Here's some map apps for iOS for your iPhone and iPad. The popular ones are Google Maps, Waze, and Apple Maps. Google Maps has been around for a long time. And it's got a good rating of 4.7 out of 5 stars. Waze is 4.9 out of 5. Waze became popular because they gave you directions that avoided the most traffic and hazards. And then there's Apple Maps, and it's improving all the time. And I use Apple Maps. And the advantage of Apple Maps is that because it's part of your operating system, it works, it's very integrated with other applications. So here's some of the advantages of Apple Maps. It's easy access from the Contacts app, and I'll show you that in a minute. It can be used with Siri. It shows transit routes and landscape views. It shows congested traffic areas. It shows look around view, and I'll show you that in a minute. And it shows map quick view of addresses in emails. So for instance, here's an email with an address in it. And when you move your cursor over an address, it recognizes it and it puts the dotted line around it and puts the little gray arrow next to it. When you click on the little gray arrow, it shows you the location of that address on a map without ever leaving the mail application. If you do want to see it in the mail application, you can click right there and get directions. You can also click the button down here and it will add that address to your Contacts app. So that's a pretty handy integration there. And next is look around view, and I'll give you a little demonstration video of that. And this is using it on an iPhone.
Here's a short video using Apple Maps on an iPhone, and I'll show you look around view. And it also shows a secondary app that I use that's part of the Shortcuts app that turns my Maps app from dark view to light view, because I prefer using the Maps app in the light view. So you'll notice that also. So I will go to the Contacts app and I'm going to search for Starbucks. So I'll type in Starbucks and 2 different Starbucks come up. I'm going to click on the one that says Anacortes. And then this, when this comes up, you'll see the address, and right next to it, you'll see a little map with a pinpoint on it. When I click on that, it will bring up that address in Apple Maps, and it shows me where it is. It tells me it's 24 minutes away, and or 24 miles away, and will take 38 minutes to drive there. And I'll show you now. We'll go to the other Starbucks, and so we'll go back to, get out of this, and we'll go back to the Contacts app. And I'll choose Starbucks, other Starbucks listing. It'll show me here it's in Seattle, and I'll click on the little map with the pinpoint on it, and it will take me to the Maps app again, and it shows me the location of this Starbucks in Seattle. It's 64 miles away, and it says 1 hour and 51 minutes to drive there. You'll also see in the upper right corner an icon that looks like binoculars. That's look around view, and Google has something similar called Street View. So I can click on that, and it'll zoom us right into a view of the street where Starbucks is. You can see here that it says it's open, but there's a lot of construction going on there. So if you plan to go there, you might see that and change your mind. But what we can do is tap down the road, and it will take us in that direction, take us down to that view, and then swipe around to the left or right to see the street there. There's Starbucks. And you can see down the street, you can see things on both sides of the street there. And the further you tap down the street, it takes you in that direction. The farther you tap down, the farther you go. And then we can swipe left to right and look at the view. We can see there's Lake Washington off to the right. Off to the left here, it looks like it's Alder Street. We can just tap and zoom right up the hill here. We'll just follow this road around. There's a road on the left. Maybe we'll just go down that road. So you can see it's kind of cool to use, and I think it actually works a little bit better than Google Street View. But there it is. And of course, you can also get directions, and it will show you on the map. And I'll demonstrate that later.
Street View, however, isn't available for every location, mostly the more popular and big cities. Now, here's map directions with Siri, using Siri. Siri, give me directions to Starbucks in Anacortes.
Which Starbucks?
The one on Commercial Avenue.
Getting directions to Commercial Avenue, Anacortes. Starting route to Commercial Avenue.
So if you let that go, continue, it will give you turn-by-turn directions. One thing to be careful of, though, is if your self-service is spotty, and you will lose the map directions. So it's good to look at the maps, get an idea where you're going ahead of time. Here's an app you can find on the App Store that's called Earbud Locator. And this is great, particularly if any of you use Apple's wireless earbuds, because you know they're very expensive. So if you happen to be cleaning house or gardening or something, and you lose an earbud, you can just turn this, open this app up and choose the device you want to search for. It'll find any Bluetooth device that's turned on. It will show the exact distance between you and the lost device, and it will guide you to it. And it's got a 4.4 out of 5 star rating. So this is a pretty good app. And I believe this one is free. You can get Island County Department of Energy Management app from Island County. And this is good safety app to have. It helps you make emergency plans. It shows news and alerts and shows emergency locations on a map. And it gives you a complete list of Island County contacts. It includes a page of emergency preparedness videos. And it also shows emergency plans in a PDF list. This is what the app looks like on an iPhone. So you can see the different selections here. Here's the video library. They have quite a lot of videos you can watch. Here's information on emergency kit. So that's a good safety app to have. Here's a little bit about Apple Wallet. Now, I wasn't particularly interested in using Apple Wallet, but I was curious how it worked. So I did start using it, and I think it works great. I think this is a really handy app to use. It can use facial recognition, so you don't have to enter a password to use the app. It immediately shows your card transactions and history. You never have to enter card numbers for most transactions, and you can use Apple Pay on many websites. You can easily pay your account with one click without having to type numbers. The vendors, when you use the card, the vendors never see your card numbers. You can get statements on your device, and you can send PDF copies to other devices. You can use it for credit cards, debit cards, store cards, boarding passes, and other things. Here's a screenshot of the app. It shows your card balance. It'll show if you have a payment due and when it's due. And if you scroll up, it shows all your transactions. There's also a lot of free banking apps that you can get from your bank websites. These apps are pretty convenient. They're fast and secure. They can use fingerprint ID and facial recognition if you want to set those up. You can use them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can check your balances and transfer funds between accounts. You can deposit checks, pay bills, and download statements. iCloud Drive is, this is a settings in iCloud that you can use, and I think this is very handy. It lets you share files between your devices really easily. This is what the icon looks like on your iOS devices, on the iPhone and iPad. It just says files, and you need to turn it on any device that you want to share files between. On your Mac, you would go to your system preferences, and it's in the top here, iCloud Drive, but there's a lot of options, and you want to make sure you click on the options because it will also turn all of these on, and mostly you should turn them all off unless there's something that you specifically want on. Particularly desktop and documents, you probably don't want those going to iCloud, unless one advantage though is if you happen to have a laptop with a small hard drive and your hard drive is getting full. This is one way to get more space on your hard drive by using the desktop and documents folders in iCloud. So once you have it set up, you can see that on your iPhone, it looks like this. And anything you put in this folder or in iCloud Drive on your Mac will show up on all your devices. So on the Mac, it just looks like this, iCloud Drive, and this is a list on the left side of your Finder window. Games. Probably everybody's familiar with Full Deck Solitaire. Another fun game is called Cryptogram Deluxe. And there's also Sudoku Daily. Full Deck Solitaire is 4.7 out of 5 stars, so it's a pretty good app. Cryptogram. This is a fun app that Robert turned me on to. It shows quotes that are encrypted, and you try to decrypt it and figure out what the quote is. And that sounds like it would be pretty daunting, but once you get started, you actually figure out methods for figuring it out, and it's really fun. And there's also a hint button, so if you get stuck, you just click on hints, and leads you down the road. This app says in-app purchase, so unfortunately you can't see what it costs until you download it. And then Sudoku Daily is a free app. It just says get 4.9 out of 5 stars. A lot of you may be familiar with this. It's a numbers puzzle that you can work, and it really probably helps keep your mind sharp. It's a fun one, and I think it's kind of addicting. Voice Memos is an app that's already on your iPhone. It looks like this. And you can also access it in your control panel on your iPhone if you have it added to the control panel. When you open the app, it looks like this. You just click the red button and it starts recording. Click it again to stop, and you can give your recordings a title, and you can also edit them. I find it to be pretty handy. Magnifier is another application that's already on your phone. It looks like this, the icon. And if you click on that, it uses the camera, and you move this yellow dot to zoom in. And it works pretty well. So here's a few other app ideas. This one is called Tide Alert, and one called Tide Graph. Both Robert and Gary like to use these Tide apps, and they're both rated at 4.8 out of 5, so they're pretty good apps. And then Gary likes to use an app called Around Me. And this app identifies your position on a map and allows you to choose the nearest bank, gas station, hospital, hotel, theater, etc. For every listing, you can choose to see its location on a map and view the route from where you are. So that sounds pretty handy. Shortcuts is an application that's also on your iPhone, and it can be downloaded to your iPad from the App Store. You can create shortcuts of your own to complete functions that you like to keep handy, or you can choose one of the shortcuts that are already available from the app. So if you click on it and you go to the gallery, it will show you shortcuts that are already set up, ready to go. Scroll down, you get more shortcuts. Here's one that will put your most recent photo into a text message for you. Here's one that'll put the most recent photo into an email. Scroll down for even more shortcuts. Here's one that'll create an event and a time and date that you choose on your calendar. And here's one that lets you select photos and videos to AirDrop. When you have selected a few of these shortcuts, it puts them into your list, your shortcut list. And so when you open it up and click on my shortcuts, you can see just the ones that you want to use. There's one called Directions Home. Click it wherever you are, and it'll automatically open the map and give you directions to get back home. And so that's a lot of choices for that. Now you've been exposed to apps in the App Store, so go and explore the apps already on your device and search for apps to do special functions.